Hi, so this is the Bandridge 5-way SCART selector, the manual one, which is completely mechanical, doesn't have a power supply and just works by pressing these mechanical buttons. So this was widely available for a long time, probably for about 15 years or something like that, and about 3 years ago or so I bought one because they were readily available new in box on eBay and various places for about 30 quid. But then that, which I presume was new old stock, you know, because even at that point it hadn't actually been in production for quite a while, all the new old stock just ran out. And it's one of those weird cases where overnight the cost of something, I've seen it happen on a few things before, but the general cost of something on eBay and on Amazon and what have you suddenly kind of doubles literally overnight when everyone realizes that the new old stock has finally gone and all that's left is second-hand market. That's when the prices suddenly shoot up. So now you can see this advertised for anything between like 40 to even 100 or more pounds. Now Bandridge did make a powered one, which is auto switching. I don't have any use for that. I like the manual one. I don't need auto switching. It doesn't benefit me in any way in my retro game setup, and it just means it's got to be plugged in all the time, and I just don't need another plug being used, so I'm perfectly happy. Now, as you can see here, it's got one output RGB SCART socket, so that's the output. 5 inputs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It also has various other outputs which are useful, probably maybe more useful in a kind of general audio hi-fi video setup, but I don't know, I'm sure retro gamers also use them. But it also has just audio piped out on the back there, left and right RCA, and it also has an input which overrides AV1, which can also be composite, which is those three there, or S-video, which is that one there. Now, I have tried using that. It does work, and I assume that could actually be very useful for some retro gamers, but I don't need it. I've got a S-video input on my RetroTink 5X. So that's just a general rundown of the Bandridge. If you read reviews of it and what have you on the internet, some people say that they've had issues with theirs and they've had to mod it. You can look up on how to mod these. I'm not going to go into the details. They had to mod it to fix various issues. Now, I personally, I've bought about 3 or 4 of these now in my life, and I have done the mod on them, but I've got to say, I only did it because I thought it was a good idea if it ever caused problems in the future. But I must say, I've never ever noticed any image degradation, power feedback, or any problems with it, even when I hadn't modded it. I've got to say, it's only ever given me perfect performance, perfect picture, and I've got no problem with it. And there are a number of alternatives that are out there, all a lot more expensive. But the thing I really like about this one is the form factor. Now, I really wish that a company like Retro Gaming Cables UK, they have brought out a new one, which is one of these flat types where the plugs all stick upwards. Now, I'll show you why that's not suitable for me. So this is the space I have for my RetroTink 5X. As you can see, it's shoved in a corner of my TV stand under the TV. None of the SCART switches that the RetroTink 5X plugs directly into, which unfortunately includes the new Retro Gaming Cable SCART switch, would fit anywhere where I have my stuff. So they're out of the question. Now I'll show you where my Bandridge 5-way boxes are at the moment. So this is the position where I have my 2 Bandridges that I'm using at the moment. I do have 1 or 2 spares, which I intend to kind of stack up in this convenient way that you can stack them as and when I get enough devices. I do actually have enough devices to be using more than 2 of these, but I don't have the physical space for the consoles, so I only have my main use consoles set up for any time use in the lounge. I've got a few other stored away that I just get out now and again when I want to play them. So as you can see, the way these stack, very similar to a hi-fi system or like a music amplifier rack or anything like that if you're a guitar player. This is the real beauty of these things. They provide a perfectly good picture, but they're also hugely space saving for people that have the need of being able to stack these things like this with the wires round the back. And the majority of the kind of new modern made retro game industry SCART switches all have those kind of long flat designs where all the plugs point upwards, and there's just no way you can fit something like that into a shelf unit or stack up like this like you can with the Bandridges. So that's the reason why these things are still selling for quite a lot of money. Even though they might not be the latest technology, they do the trick if your needs are pretty basic, which mine are. And I'd love it if a third-party company like, say, Retro Gaming Cables based in the UK or what have you, would just basically just clone one of these. Sure, they could make the internals superior, they could add new other features, but I just wish they could make a kind of box design which is stackable like this. I mean, you could even have a physical plug coming out of one and then a socket in the side of the other one if you wanted, so you could directly connect them together to stack them. I mean, that sounds like quite a good idea to me. So here's a brand new proposition from Retro Gaming Cables UK, designed to fit exactly in with the RetroTink 5X upscaler. Now, as you can see, it's a 6-way mechanical switch, very similar in basic function to the Bandridge, and the output plugs directly into the RetroTink, as you can see there, which is a very clever idea and utterly perfect for someone who's got the space to have it all laid out flat like this. But having shown you what little space I've got, unfortunately this would be of no use to me at the moment. And say if you had more than 6 consoles, which many people have, the amount of kind of flat space required for something like this is getting huge. And here's the circuit board for it. As you can see, it's pretty much the same mechanicals as the Bandridge inside. And here's another option. Otaku Games are making these modern SCART switches. Again, they're purely mechanical switches. They've got this kind of flat format. They are very good from what I've heard, and they're reasonably priced, and I wouldn't call them cheap. In fact, some of these are getting up into almost €100. But I think the most basic one is like €50 or something, and which does everything the Bandridge does. But again, if you wanted to daisy chain 2 of these together, you're getting into needing like a number of square feet of flat storage space to have them with near your consoles. And having shown you what my space situation is, these are just out of the question as well. Yeah, that's why these are still popular. That's why I still prefer them over any other SCART switches, and I'm prepared to pay the prices they're going for at the moment. It's just pure convenience. They're a great design. As far as I know, no one ever made another SCART switch box in this format, and it's just such a clever format, and I am surprised why no one's ever kind of tried to replicate it since Bandridge stopped making them. So yeah, if you've got any questions about this particular SCART switch box, let me know in the comments. And they are worth looking out for on eBay, what have you. Just do a saved search, check your emails every morning. They do come up now and again, but it's surprisingly infrequent considering how widely available they were just about 3 years ago. And overnight just kind of disappeared because all the new old stock went. I suppose it's because the people that do have them do prize them, and they're just keeping hold of them, and yet they just don't come up for sale very often. So yeah, there's another little video. I will be doing more, and thanks for watching this one.